What do you think of when you hear the phrase the death penalty? Maybe eliminating the threat, reducing criminal activity, or maybe even cheap and efficient. What if I told you that that's the complete opposite? Through the past and the present, the death penalty has shown to be very inefficient, extremely costly, and morally tragic. To convey that the death penalty should be abolished. The death penalty is established for capital punishment for the hardest of criminals, to eliminate the threat. And yet there is no correlation to deter crime, for which the death penalty is put in place to do. Without that, it's there to take an eye for an eye and nothing else. Killing people for killing people. If you take an eye for an eye, are you really stopping violence? Or are you creating more violence? Are you killing people to kill people? There's no change. You're not changing the culture or anything. You're just stopping the violence, which in the long run does not stop violence. According to criminal violence cases, police officers on duty do not suffer a higher rate of criminal activity than states that have abolished the death penalty than they do in death penalty states. Now, if the death penalty helped deter crime, then wouldn't there be less violence in that area? Now, what does violence mean? Violence is the behavior involving physical force intended to hurt or kill someone or something. The death penalty is there to eliminate the violence, right? By killing them. Like the saying goes, like I said before, taking an eye for an eye. It's a never-ending cycle of killing and no rehabilitation, no change for that person. If you don't change the person, you're not going to change the culture. In order to help stop violence, you must deal with the person committing the crime. Putting them in prison now helps them rehabilitate and changes a person. It gives them time to think about what they have done. And life in prison is just as terrifying as dying. Life in prison gives them the chance to change themselves, change for what they've done. And it's less costly as well. The cost of death penalty are extremely expensive. There has been studies shown that in Florida, being one of the nation's largest death rows, the cost of an execution is about $3.2 million, which is approximately 6 times the cost for life behind bars. And most areas try to tell people that it's not that expensive, but you got to think about the court system, all the process they have to go to before the killing, and the killing is also massively expensive. That money has to come from somewhere, and it's from the taxpayers' pockets, which is our money. Money at work. Fine job, right? It's as if we are paying others to kill for us. If life behind bars is cheaper and more effective to deter crime, then why not abolish the death penalty? All it is killing people. Life imprisonment is just as a punishment than death. Think about it, being behind those cement walls of being in prison. You never hear people laughing in there. Most probably wish to be dead. So it's not like it's fun. It's just as bad as the death penalty. If you want them punished, put them in prison. They're going to have to be put with other criminals. Do you want to be next to criminals? That's a good question. But spending all that money to kill criminals can be unreliable. The death penalty has proven to be inefficient multiple times. Findings from a study from the governor of Maryland showed that the race of a victim had an impact on whether you would receive the death penalty or not. So if you were another color other than white, you had a higher chance of dying. And it seems unfair, especially when you don't get a say in anything. We were a country that used to be racist, but we've changed. There's so many things going on in the world that why are we coming back to racism? Take it out so we don't have to deal with that. It's insane to think as well, with racism as well, that our justice system could possibly take innocent lives. But in 1989, a man named Carlos de Luna was put to death for a murder in Corpus Christi that he never committed. Now what if you were in his shoes, not able to say a single thing to your name, knowing you were innocent and gonna die, never going to see your family or friends, let alone breathe fresh air into your lungs again? You will die for something you never committed, and there's nothing you can do about it but sit and wait till your heart stops, and you'll be gone for no reason. The system is what we go by. How long must it last? Capital punishment was established for stopping crime and eliminating it from the source. But proof has risen and has shown that it doesn't help people's lives. It takes our money, some innocent lives for that fact. What are we paying them for? At least kill the right man if you have to kill someone. We can't keep pouring and dumping our money into a system that has been corrupted. It has turned from a system of stopping and eliminating the violence itself to this system that where it turned into violence. There must be an end to the death penalty. No pun intended, but the death penalty needs to be put to death. Now that you know the truth, what do you really think the death penalty means?